Okay, 1916, good luck. So we've not played before, no head-to-head score. So opponent, 6,800 games, very good. And I've done, what, 800? It was rapid I was checking now, wasn't it? It was. It goes d4, let's just match that. Okay, how do we want to do this? We've got bishop up, we've got pawn forward. We could play pawn up here, but I don't really want to. g6. I'm going to play c5 early, I think. Make room for the knight, and then maybe the bishop up. Okay, so we'll take first. Which one does he take with? Okay. Let's get the bishop right up. There is a potential to come this way at some point. But I'm going to commit to this structure and try and get castled. Let's play bishop up again. Checks either way, at least I can block right now. Okay, so we both castle early. Now we need a plan. If the queen moves, I'll probably have to trade, or I can just drop back and accept a worse structure, but I could get the bishop trapped if I do nothing. Not easy to find a way through, is it? So what about this and this? Knight up is also a move, I guess, but knight can still come in once the queen has moved. But it's still a development move, isn't it? So let's get the knight up. So that's the minor pieces all up now. And I'm probably just going to trade here. And then try and expand on this side. Excuse me. Okay, I'll just push up one here just because of that knight move. But this knight is loose now. If this knight ever manages to jump forward. Or indeed if the bishop does. But, oh, the bishop has done. Okay. Well, I guess queen up is a natural move here, just to guard the knight and threaten the pawn at the same time. But if we trade here, my knight is actually loose, so not really a threat, more just a development move. But we might get a6 in if the bishop stays here. So let's just see what white does. But we both got through the opening fine. We just need to try and come up with a plan now. f5 could come at any moment. There, he's moved the queen out of the way. The idea is to try and trap the bishop. So I'm just going to trade it before it gets lost. Here, I guess you'll go back. So is that a big problem? Maybe, maybe. So here, back, here. Not quite so keen on that. So I'm just looking at knight back to potentially come across. Yeah, I'm going to drop the knight back and use the knight potentially as a big pawn because the bishop's going to come back here. I might even try and go here, but I guess there's knight back. But if I could give up the knight and the pawn for the bishop, that could be sensible. Don't mean it is, but it could be. Yeah, the knight's gone there, so the bishop's going here as well. Actually, is that a pawn blunder? Has our opponent just blundered a pawn there? That could be a vital pawn. If takes and queen takes, I don't see any nasty discovery that I can't run away from. So why can't I just take? Is the idea rook takes knight? I'm going to grab the pawn. It could be a poison pawn. The idea might be a deliberate sack with rook takes knight. So he has moved out the way. So we'll take the bishop. If takes here, I'll just have to drop back. I mean, maybe I could go here, but I guess I'll drop back. But now maybe I've got knight forward. So there's no longer a sack there. Bishop back, I'm happy to give back the pawn to get rid of the bishop. Use this knight as a giant pawn, but I could maybe risk f5 now because it's not easy to damage all this, is it? So is f5 a move? Here. What do I do? Rook across. I'm going to risk it. I'm going to play f5. I'm not a bold, adventurous player, but it gives me a chance to drop back behind a pawn if he does nothing. Pawn up is a move. Right now I can play rook across. Excuse me. Or I can obviously get the queen out of the way. So he's gone across for an attack. So I've got knight back just to hit the rook immediately. Queen down might be the idea. So what about just knight across then? Just play knight over just to cover this queen down move. I don't think there's a sacrifice on right now, but could be, you never know. Here, I'm still looking at rook across, and then you can't take because I just take the rook. The knight up could be a threat now as well. Get rid of that annoying bishop. The knight up is a potential move, but queen down right now, and you threaten to blast through. So right now I don't think it's on, but maybe it is. If you come here, my queen's still guard. Yeah, the bishop's gotten out of the way. But now can I go here then? What's the idea behind that? I'm going to push here quickly to try and fix this. I'm not quite sure what he's trying to do with that, unless you'd want to get the queen on this diagonal to blast it open further down the line, maybe. Or maybe it's just simply to get out of the way of this concept. Yeah, maybe just to avoid this. Because queen down, you create the threat, but my queen guards my knight here, so maybe I can just play h6. Actually, no, I just take the rook first one. It's a check. It's a check. Knight here, we take the rook with a check. Just got to pay attention to see these things. Okay, so the queen has come forward now, so can we just jump up and offer a queen trade? I'd be very happy to trade the queens. You might have to retreat to guard your rook if you don't. That looks very promising to me, so I'm going to play that. I just hope I'm not blundering. But if you don't trade, you've got to guard your rook on c1. The queen could just drop back to e1, but it's given us like a development move, if that's the case. Of course, when the queens come off, if they do come off, it's easier. A little bit less risk for both sides, so maybe you can then take the knight. Yeah, he's gone for the knight straight away. So does it matter which way I do this? I'm going to go this way, so I open up the file for my rook as well and keep this solid if I can. So here, knight takes, and we hit the rook and we get another development move. So the knight feels like the natural reply, but the rook, and I can double up, but I think it's got to be the knight. Get a tempo on the rook, hit the other rook. Threaten to come to f2 potentially at some point. Maybe just double up. But I'm going to go here and hit the rook and the pawn and see how you guard. And then I think I'm just going to look to double up, but I've got to watch out for these breaks. So we could go here. As long as I don't get my knight trapped. My knight could get trapped. Let's hope not. So take here, check. It's nothing, is it? If you go here, check. Here, it's nothing. So, I'm actually just going to go up one there, so I've got the option to come across as well as double here. But I mustn't get this knight trapped because there's nowhere to run apart from here, so pawn up and it's actually potentially trapped. Yeah, might be a mistake here because of g3. I might be getting the knight in a bit of bother. Okay, he's come forward, so I do actually have rook up here now, though. I mean, I can do this to stop the knight jumping forward. Maybe I can do this to threaten here, but the simple g6, it's a bit slow though, isn't it? So what if I go here? Does he allow this? Takes, you take my knight. Yeah, so that's a blunder. So let's just play g6 to stop this and give our king a square. Takes now a take, down a take. I've still got a square here for at least one move, but it might be sensible to throw in a5 to prepare pawn forward here. Yeah, opponent's gone to try and play this, so I think this file is actually a red herring. I'm not doing anything, am I? I'm not achieving anything, so what about back? I'm going to come across and try and pressure this pawn now he's pushed here. I mean, you've got knight back to guard, but then we'll come forward. Maybe we'll double this way. Oh, he's just ignored it and pushed, but can't I just take? I think I can just take and take here. But can I? Can I? Maybe not. Take, pawn takes, rook takes. Maybe there isn't actually a follow-up. So I'm going to come right across onto the open file. He might push down here. It's a bit dangerous, actually. I might have gone wrong. We might have gone a bit wrong here. I'm going to try and get one of the rooks off or throw a check, and he has indeed come forward. So which is best? Trade here. Knight around the angles. I'm going to try and push this pawn as far down the board as I can and then play rook up, I think. Might have gone a bit wrong. Might have gone a bit wrong. Maybe I'm going to have to sack the knight at some point if things pan out, but we might have messed up ever so slightly. Oh, I'm up on the clock, man. I've got that 30 seconds on the clock. That could come in very handy. Let's just see. Right, the king's gotten out of the way, so I'm trying to do this with a view to rook forward. And then you can't really trade. That's my concept, so I'm just going to push on quickly. My opponent could potentially counter, but then maybe I get forward. The knight can maybe drop back, but here is covered. That's what he's done. Let's just quickly push up and threaten to come in. Now you don't have rook back to guard. The knight's come forward, but that's just a blunder. He just forgot that it wasn't covered. That's just a straight blunder. Okay, so he's taken the pawn. Maybe it wasn't a blunder. Well, maybe it's just he didn't see a better move, if I put it that way. So do I just try and dislodge this now? That's probably what I should focus on. But how do I do it? Let's bring the king up now. Just got to watch this pawn, but I've got a pawn of my own here. He's let me push it. So here down, I can just push up. And if rook back, knight across, I think it's okay to push here. If you come here, I think I just march on. And rook back, just knight across. So he's gone with the king, but the same sort of difference, I think. Or actually, is it? Maybe it isn't. Have I just blundered again? Here, king back. Here, you take. Or maybe I have, I don't know. That's a bit irritating, isn't it, if I've blundered the pawn. Let's go here anyway then. Here, maybe I can actually take this pawn. And you can't take my knight. Yeah, it's just a pawn for a pawn, isn't it? If you take with a king, I've got a check. So take with a rook and then you hit this as well. And I can't check, I'll have to drop my knight back. But at least I guard my pawn. But this pawn could become a monster. Could have gone wrong. But that's probably my next move, just about whatever my opponent does here. Then maybe this to plant the knight, try and guard this. This pawn, if you can get it pushed and get behind, that could be a serious problem. Luckily here I've got g5 and h6 to plant my knight. Maybe you just sack and get rid of it. So he's gone across. So let's plant the knight while we can. Might not get another chance. Maybe king up as well. Right, I'm going to try and stop getting in too quickly here. Forward, I'll just go up 2. Just go up 1. Now if king forward, I can swing one of the rooks across if you step here, I think. And then I'll try and take this square and come in. But these two are dangerous. Yeah, he's gone across, found it. I guess I've got this square. Threatened to try and come across. That's covered. That's not really a threat, so king up's a move. I've got a minute on the clock, I need to use it. Excuse me. But that's what I'm looking at, just moving the king across. Just simply challenging the pawn. What does he do? King f3. He's gone across to defend, but now I can go here. If you come down, there must be something. I don't see it, but can I free up this rook and come across and threaten a check? I don't actually see why not. Here, check and trade. There is still this issue, but I think I can free up my rook here and try and get forward. I see you'd have to go back. I can check either square. We can trade, king up, but you've only 2 moves and this pawn is in our half of the board. It could be a problem, but I do have this one as well. Or maybe I can check and come here. Here, but again, that pawn can still run. It's not easy. Not easy. I need to get this pawn up the board, but without disturbing my knight. It's not easy, is it? Not easy. So he's dropped the rook back. So, okay, so I can still check and you'll have to go here anyway, but then I can check maybe get behind. It's got to be a good move to check because you have to go back. So that's got to be good. Now, can I just run this pawn now? Can we just run now? We've still got rook across. Take with a check, but I think I need to get forward here. Here. Maybe I then just simply go here. Yeah, let's push the pawn. If the rook moves off this file, then rook across I think is stronger. And I'm threatening to just march the pawn up otherwise. Okay, that's what he's played. So I think I come across here and hit the pawn. This is still guarded. He's got to get mortaring his pawns, but it's not easy to see how you actually do it. Okay, that's just a blunder because the rook is going to hang. I mean, I guess my rook will hang as well. Maybe I can just grab the pawn. Oh, he's gone that way. Okay, that's unfortunate, but we can take now. So now we're a rook up, so it should be good now. Let's just go after the pawn. Now, that doesn't really matter now. It's useful, but it's not the end, not the be-all and end-all. Actually, maybe I can trap the king on the back rank and go for a back rank checkmate now. I've noticed that. Here, takes, here. Yeah, that's clean enough. Trap the king and go after the back rank. He can't cover everything with one rook, so we can come, what, this way, we can come this way. So he hits the pawn, that's probably a good move, but I think I just, actually no, let's safety first and then rook across and go after this. We can just take it now, but I'm trying to go after the checkmate. Okay, now I'll go here, threaten checkmate. He can go across and block, but we can just get the rook off and then take the pawn. I just make certain I don't blunder my rook there. So that was a pretty decent game at our level. Let's see how we played it in engine language. So we just pause so we don't accidentally start another game. Then go back to the game. So we played 58 moves. So they're the move times for both players. So let's request an analysis and see what it was in engine speak. It felt like it was a pretty decent game at our level. Nothing fancy, nothing too technical, but still a decent enough game for our level. So what have we played? We played 94% versus 90% accuracy and CPL 40 and 57. And we've basically just built a gradual advantage the whole game through. We can see lots of ups and downs on the graph, so lots of little mistakes and inaccuracies there. Not perfect play by any means, but just a gradual steady advantage. So let's just have a quick flick through. It's not flagged any blunders for us, but lots of little mistakes. So I've just chosen to try and charge the center here. Oh, I did, I had that pawn here. I just didn't notice that. I had it a few moves later, didn't I? I just simply didn't notice that the pawn was hanging there. I was just trying to get developed. I'm pretty sure I didn't notice it then. It's when the knight goes back, that's when I took, wasn't it? Yes, it was hanging a few moves before, I just wasn't paying attention. Just trying to get the pieces developed. Then I'm trying to put a clamp on this, but obviously later on, it does dislodge my structure. But as it turned out, it wasn't too bad. So that was an inaccuracy. It was fine to take back as we did. You can see it's not flagging any mistakes here. Just simple development moves, trying to find a way through, trying to stop our opponent through. But in this position, I think I realised if I take here, all of my pawn structure just collapses. You could do it this way first, but then it's a lot more dicey. I didn't see how to actually make that work. So that's why I just tried to activate the rook. But now my opponent's got a protected passed pawn. But we are +3 better. See, just at the time you play the game, you don't know that, of course. Then it was just the decisive blunder. He just simply didn't notice that the knight was covering. Or he noticed it, but he didn't see anything better to try and get rid of this, but I'm assuming it was just a simple slip. Oh, then here, I should have played knight check here. So king takes, what's the idea there? Oh, a knight in, I hit both rooks. Again, not paying attention. Not paying attention, but knight in here, if you don't take, we're getting a new queen. If you do, just knight across. And if you play rook over, we can take and we guard our rook. So that wins an exchange and wins on the spot. But I just saw how I could swap one for another here. So a bit of a dip in the eval there. So again, on another day, a little bit sharper, paying more attention. I would have spotted that, should have spotted that. And that was a blunder. It's now a forced checkmate, apparently. Oh, I should have checked with the rook here. But it's still, you know, completely winning. Again, I just try to play to win the game. I don't mind whether there's going to be technical mistakes and blunders if you miss a forced checkmate sequence, for instance. But as long as you win the game, that's all that matters. And I just saw here, get the rook off, takes all the risk out, and we get the win. But it's still a decent game at our level, though, so well done that.